Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into something super cool. I'll show you how to set up a basic web server with Flask and render an HTML template. Perfect if you're just getting into web development with Python. Let's jump right in. Alright, first up, we need to make sure Flask is installed. Open up your command prompt or terminal and type in the following command: pip install Flask. Here, we're telling Python's package manager pip to install Flask. Flask is the library we'll use to set up our web server. Pip is basically the tool that helps us install different Python modules or libraries which we mentioned in the previous video. Once Flask is installed, you're all set to start coding. Flask is a lightweight and flexible Python web framework that makes it super easy to build web applications and APIs. It's often referred to as a micro framework because it doesn't come with a lot of built-in tools. This means you only include what you need, keeping your project simple and fast. Flask is popular because it's beginner-friendly, yet powerful enough for real-world applications. It handles the basics of web development, like routing, which determines what happens when users visit different URLs, and rendering HTML templates. You can build everything from small projects to large-scale applications with it. From Flask import, Flask render template. This line imports two important parts of Flask. Flask. This is the main class we use to create our Flask application. Creating an instance of Flask essentially sets up our app, allowing it to handle requests and responses. Render template. This function is used to render HTML templates. It takes an HTML file, usually from a folder named templates, and sends it to the user's web browser. This lets us serve up full HTML pages rather than just plain text. Python app equals Flask_name_. Here, we create an instance of the Flask class and store it in a variable named app. This app object represents our Flask application and will be used to set up routes and run the server. Name Jacques is a special Python variable that represents the name of the current module, in this case, our script. Flask uses it to understand where to look for other files and resources, like templates and static files. This line is a route decorator, meaning it defines a route, or URL, for our app. Slash is the URL path for this route. In Flask, slash represents the route URL, which is typically the home page. So when someone visits our website's route, like http://127.001:5000//, Flask will execute the function right below this line. In general, routes tell Flask, if a user goes to this specific URL, execute the following code. Def home. Here, we're defining a function called home. This function will run whenever someone visits the route URL/. Functions associated with routes are often called view functions in Flask. Return render template, index.html. Render template, index.html. Loads an HTML file named index.html from the templates folder. Flask knows to look for index.html in a folder named templates because that's the default location for templates in Flask. Return sends this rendered HTML page back to the user's web browser, displaying the page content. If Jacques name main Jacques ensures that app.run only runs if this script is executed directly, like Python app.py, and not if it's imported as a module. app run debug equals true starts the server and activates debug mode, making it easier to develop and troubleshoot your app. Alright, let's start by creating a folder called Templates. In that folder, add an HTML file. This will be our front-end interface. Let's name it index.html for now. Just remember, if you ever rename your HTML file, make sure to update the file name in your Python code so it matches. This is the file that users actually see when they visit your site. It sets up the layout, text, images, and all the other elements on the page. HTML is the core language for web pages, giving structure to everything you display. The AND tags tell the browser that this is an HTML5 document. The section contains metadata, like the page title, which appears on the Browser tab. The section is where the main content goes. We have an header and a paragraph, which will be displayed on our page. Alright, now let's run the project. After that, click on the link shown in the VS Code terminal. It will open in a browser, or you can just copy the URL and paste on a browser. Now let's see how all these works together. By using render template in app.py, we're telling Flask to find index.html in a folder called templates, load it, and send it to the browser whenever someone visits the homepage. Flask uses the .py file for server logic and data processing, while the .html file provides the structure and design. Also, always remember to place the index.html in the templates folder. The templates folder should be in the same folder as a view app.py. With Flask, you can build more complex projects by adding more routes and HTML templates. You can even use CSS and JavaScript files to style and add interactivity to your pages, turning Flask into a powerful tool for web development. That's a wrap. Hope you all enjoyed this video. I'll be sharing more tips on building awesome Flask projects, so stay tuned. If you found it helpful, please like, comment, and share with your coding buddies. Don't forget to subscribe for more tutorials and cool project ideas. Thanks for watching, and catch you in the next one.